Everyone, sorry I was kind of MIA there for a while. I finished this quarter and immediately went on vacation to Jacksonville just to visit my boyfriend for a little bit. He was on spring break, so it actually worked out perfectly. And I planned on making a video earlier this week when I got here about how my finals went, but for some reason my computer isn't getting onto the network, and so I can't post anything, and I didn't really want to make a video that far in advance and then not be able to post it and it kind of be like outdated information. But I did want to get a video to you guys. So we were trying to figure out what was going on and couldn't figure it out. So long story short, I'm making this video and I'm going to go to Panera later to do some studying, and I'm going to submit it then. That way it's still kind of current information. It's a current video. It's not like I made it, 2 weeks ago when I was trying to do it. But I wanted to just touch base with you guys. Again, I'm sorry that it was been so long. Finals hit, and obviously, if you're in nursing school, you know that finals gets crazy. There's a lot going on, and it's just a lot due at one time, especially for my mental health class. The teacher just seemed to have everything that we were doing due the last 2.5 weeks of school. So I literally, for one of my classes, had 8 different projects, a capstone project, 2 mental health exams. I had a mental health exam and then the mental health final, plus ATI exams for mental health and nursing 1, a nursing 1 final, nursing 1 capstone, and several papers to write. So it got super crazy busy. On top of all that, I was kind of like dealing with something going on with a friend of the family. So it's just been very stressful. So break was much needed. However, I just want to touch briefly on finals and kind of how I studied for that, how they went, what ended up happening, and then I'm going to be making another video the end of this week that will be before I start clinicals, or before I start quarter 7. Almost done. Quarter 8 is just around the corner. So I'll make another video on that, and then I have been thinking the past week that I've had an opportunity to. I haven't been busy with school. I've been thinking of different things to discuss with you guys in a video for like techniques on studying. Ooh, wow. Techniques on studying and finals and classes and how to stay organized and all these. I've got different ideas going. So I'm going to try and do a video later this week that'll be more in depth for you guys to follow along with. So be looking for that. As far as quarter 6, which is what I just finished, quarter 6 was mental health and nursing 1. Preparing for finals is really hard, especially when you're on a quarter thing. It's hard semester or quarter, but when you're on a quarter schedule, there's just no time. You are going. I literally needed this break so badly. Like, I said that when I was taking pharmacology and fundamentals, like, I can't wait for break. But I literally needed this break physically, emotionally, mentally. I needed this break. And while I've still been studying, I've still been like answering NCLEX questions every single day in preparation and like staying up on my information and memorization and all that stuff. I just needed some me time because that was severely lacking last quarter, and that's something I'm going to change. I'm definitely going to make sure that not only am I focusing on my studies, I'm also focusing on myself, focusing on my eating habits and how I eat. I don't like to fill my body with a lot of garbage, junk food and stuff, and like last quarter I was eating out a lot because we were studying and we would be out studying and I'd get like fast food, and it just made me feel blah. I'm sure you guys understand. You've been there. And I wasn't working out. I was working out maybe 1 day a week. So I have some new goals I'm working on going into this next quarter. And I'm asking my friends to keep me accountable because accountability helps a lot. But that's one thing too that I think affected me last semester, and it just really tore me down because I had no outlets. I had no me time really. And so I was getting very burnt out. So I really needed the break. But in saying that, as far as finals go, we'll go back to that. Don't want to get too much into the other stuff because that will probably be showing up in my video later this week that I'm going to make for you guys. But studying for finals. So for mental health final, we had to take a final and an ATI. If you're in nursing school, I'm sure you have an understanding of what ATI is, or you've heard of it. Depending on where you're at in the program, you've either completed some or you've just heard about it and what it is. I showed you guys in one of my videos on my recommended textbooks the ATI box set that I bought. Highly recommend that. If you haven't, go check that video out. Those books in there's a lot that I will tell you what I recommend. Definitely something I recommend, as well as the NCLEX strategy book. Has questions in there, reading chapters, and really the NCLEX book, when you think about a certain topic, the NCLEX book breaks it down into, if I were to read this textbook, and to take notes in an outline format, that's what the NCLEX book is. So it's broken down into all this information into a little bit easier to understand, outlined format. This is what you need to know. These are the important parts. And then it has questions at the end, which are really great. Those are questions that were on previous NCLEX exams. That style question is really good. So it's just really good practice. Plus, I found that this quarter especially, a lot of the exams had questions straight from the NCLEX book. One of my exams had 7 questions that I saw word for word from the NCLEX book. And I'm pretty sure I only would have gotten those questions right on the exams because I saw them in the NCLEX book. I probably wouldn't have gotten them right. There were a couple select all apply that I was like, why would you put that? And, reading the rationale, some of the rationales were helpful in the NCLEX books, other times they were not. But, again, they were 4 to 7 questions, depending on which exam I was taking for what class, that were directly from the NCLEX book. But the ATI book is really helpful in studying for the ATI proctored exams, which you will most likely have to take for every nursing course you take. So I had to take an ATI proctored exam for both my mental health and my professional nursing 1 class, med-surg. And depending on your school, you have to get a certain level. We needed a level 2, which I got. But how I kind of studied for those, they don't tell you how to study. There's no study this information here. I kind of just looked over all of my information from class so far that we've gotten and kind of touched on that. I went onto the ATI website and I did some of the skill modules, RN learning systems that corresponded to what we had been learning. I was a little bummed when we took the mental health. I got a level 1, and I really think a lot of that, there was a horrible testing procedure. We were on these really crappy laptops that during our exam kept shutting down, logging people off. I was logged off 3 different times saying that a cheating event was reported because I left the screen, although I went nowhere. I was submitting an answer. One of my classmates, her computer kept shutting down in the middle of the exam, so the teacher put 4 computers in front of her that were booting up so that she could, whichever one came up, she could start the exam again. It was just a really, really bad environment. So I think that partially played a factor, but also because 30 to 40% of the information that was on that ATI was about alcohol and substance abuse, which we literally learned that day in class. So I was very upset coming out of that exam. But anyhow, during remediation, we were able to schedule remediation to take it again and score level 2, because that's kind of what they want for this exam we have to take in quarter 8. That's like an NCLEX, can't think of the word right now, but it projects how well you're going to do on the NCLEX. So I went ahead and rescheduled and got what I needed. And I just had a better environment. I took my earplugs to listen to so I couldn't hear anything. But I just went over those ATI questions. I mean, really, that's the same style that's on the ATI exam, so I thought that was best. And I reviewed some of my class notes for both classes. As far as final exams for both classes, for mental health and nursing one, I took previous study guides. Like, here's a couple that I was just looking at again to refresh for mental health. I took previous study guides that I made throughout for the exams, and I focused on those because those were the main pieces of information we covered in those sections and that we believed were going to be on the exam. And for the most part, they were. Something else that I did after each exam was I would come back either to my car or whatever, or on my phone, and jot down topics that were really heavy on the exams. So like our one mental health exam, there were maybe 10 questions on the Erickson stages. And so I wrote down, no Erickson stages, things that I wanted to, kept a list of so that when I was studying for the final, I had those. This was hit hard on the exam. This was hit hard on the exam, so make sure you know these. Other than that, I really just focused on previous review guides that I had made. One friend in our class was very generous and had already made a study guide for both mental health and nursing one and shared that with some of us. So I also used that. I didn't solely go on that because I found a lot of the information in there was wrong, which you do have to be careful. It's great if somebody shares information with you and shares a study guide that they've made, but do not rely on that. Use your own knowledge and what you've learned and really look at the information and make sure it's correct, because some of that information sadly may be mistyped from when they were hearing it. They were just typing too fast or whatever. So I did use those to help with studying. And then I went back through, and our teacher, I think I have all my mental health stuff out right now. But our teacher gave us this reading list for the quarter. So we have our module 1 readings and all the readings we have to do. And they assigned both ATI and NCLEX readings. And what I did in preparation for the mental health and nursing exam was I went back to both of those reading lists, and I went through and did every single NCLEX question that was in there, chapter-wise, and read the rationales if I got them wrong. If I did get them wrong and I was like, oh, that was a stupid mistake, I kind of just moved on. If it was something that I wasn't focused on or wasn't really confident in, I went back and read that section in the NCLEX book, because again, it's a condensed version. Rather than reading 150 pages on one topic, it kind of just hits the bullet points. So that's what I did. I did that for both mental health and nursing. Our nursing one professor gave us reading lists as well with NCLEX chapters on it that we were reading throughout the quarter, and I went back and redid those NCLEX questions in that book, Hogan book, which I highly recommend. Definitely worth getting. And so really, that's for finals. That's what I did. I got with my group of friends that we studied together. There were a total of 3 of us. And study groups can be very helpful, but they can also be very detrimental. If you get too sidetracked within this group, or you're not focusing, you're not getting the work done, it's not going to benefit you. You're not going to get adequate studying done. So if you're in a study group that's small, you got to know what's right for you. You got to know how you study, what works best for you. Everyone's different. But definitely try and keep groups small, because the bigger they get, the more side conversations you get, the easier it is to get distracted, the easier it is to get off topic, to not get adequate studying done, and then you're wasting time. So I recommend getting a study group. If you're not in a study group, try it. Maybe you don't feel like that's for you. Maybe get just a couple friends together and just try it, because it can very well help in explaining things to somebody. If that's how you do, if you work better understanding something if you can explain it to someone or teach someone, compared to if you have someone teach it to you and you're relearning it again. Also, some people understand things that you don't understand, and you understand things, so you can work within that dynamic and help each other out. But really, that was really all I did for studying for exams. It doesn't sound like a lot, but once you get into that information and you're digging and you're like, oh, I need to go back and review this, or I don't really remember this, it very quickly develops and expands and becomes overwhelming and stressful already when you got to think of, what you got to do or whatever. So, yeah. I think that was all I can think of right now. I did pass both of my finals, mental health and nursing. I came out with an A in nursing 1. I keep wanting to say nursing 2, but I'm not there yet. Almost, but not yet. I came out with an A in nursing 1 and a B in mental health. I got a 90 in mental health, which by our school, a 90 is a 93 or lower. I mean, an A is a 93 or higher. A B is 93 to, I think it's 86, 87. And then a C is 78 to that. So I did get a B in mental health, which is kind of I'm bummed about because I thought mental health was easy, but really all our points came from, she was heavy on points for the exams, and one of the exams I got like 4 or 5 questions wrong because I literally sat there on the exam and read the question and I was like, oh, this is the correct answer. I know it's the correct answer, but we didn't learn this module, so I'm going to pick this one. I don't even know what I was thinking. Obviously I wasn't thinking, because I literally in my head told myself the exact phrase, this is the correct answer, but I'm not going to pick it. Don't do that. Don't second guess yourself. Don't change your answers. That is like the biggest thing I can say is if you have an answer, do not change it, because go with your gut. And I did that on a couple exams for several questions, and I think that's really what gave me the difference between an A and a B. So it's super frustrating, but it's done. It's over with. I passed. I did well. Thank goodness. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions or if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and thumbs up it. Put any comments below if you have any questions. If you have any video ideas, I'm really trying to get to those for you guys. Like I said, I'm going to be coming out with a video probably the end of this week, because I'm going to go post this today. But probably the end of this week I'll have another video out. I have a couple ideas like I said earlier that I've been thinking on and working out how I'm going to do them. But if you have any other ideas or suggestions, or you have any questions, go ahead and comment those below. I will either I will answer them there, or I might even do another video. I was thinking about doing like a question and answer video where you guys send me all kinds of questions you have, and then I'll go ahead and answer those in a video format rather than replying to every single comment. So yeah, go ahead and thumbs up and like this video. Thanks for watching. I hope that you guys are doing well and that you're surviving nursing school, and just remember to keep plugging and chugging. You're getting there one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, even if you have to, 1 minute at a time. It's very stressful. It's very frustrating. It's very hard. You want to cry a lot. I understand that. But just remember your end goal. Remember what's driving you, what's pushing you, what's motivating you. And I know you guys can do it. I will see you guys later. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.